Hi, everyone. This is Bree. And before Len and I get started with our conversation today, wanted to pop in and let you know about something really amazing that we have planned for you. We are going to host our first ever live webinar called Bring a Passion Project to Life. We will be sharing our real life passion projects, including a book and an exhibition, how we took our projects from start to finish. We'll share some of the internal and external obstacles and struggles and how we overcame those. And then we'll share also how the experience changed our vision for future projects. Last, it's all going to culminate in how you can apply this to finishing your own passion projects because we absolutely want you to do that. All right. So, all of this is in a little bit in preparation for our upcoming workshop. And if you'd like to know more about that, we'll put all of the information in the episode notes. This webinar is free and it will be on, well, you can check out the details. It's January 24th or 25th, depending on your time zone. So we look forward to seeing you there and we hope you join us. And now on to the episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to A Creative Affair. You're here with Bree and Len. And if you don't know who we are, then go check out our websites. We include them at the bottom of the show descriptions. So you can just go check that out. Or you can go listen to all the past episodes and find out all the personal things that we share. Right, Len?
We overshare sometimes, don't we? I'm sure.
Oh, no, there's no oversharing here.
Oh, okay.
It's all just sharing, right?
It's a safe space.
Totally. And I've been actually working on becoming more vulnerable, like just kind of laying out some of my personal thinking and how I'm feeling and just seeing how that feels. And as I feel like safe to do it. And it's actually really helping me a lot. So, but that's not what this podcast is about. So this episode is actually, we're going to talk about impossible goals. This is my idea. And the reason we're going to talk about this is because I created and accomplished an impossible goal. And I kind of, we thought we'd talk about this today because sometimes we think about doing things that seem impossible and then we just don't do them because they seem so far off and impossible. Have you had anything that you've thought about doing like that, or anything that you've done that seemed like that, Len?
Yes, I've had quite a few, I think, and the one that jumps to mind was also the biggest block was actually publishing a book, and I think that the dream of being published was there very young. In the journey of wanting to be an artist and doing all those wonderful things, and for some reason it was an incredibly huge wall that I stopped, and I got so close so many times, to actually publishing it, and I even paid an editor to edit all of my writings, and I still haven't published that book. Because there's a self-doubt there about that, or there's all these little walls, and I always thought it was impossible, and not consciously, I think subconsciously, that there was a lot of it, that it is something that's quite impossible. And then eventually, and this year actually marks me publishing 2 books. And getting them out and selling them and having them shipped off, and actually having them in people's hands. And now people write to me and say, wow, this is incredibly beautiful, and thank you. I feel I feel quite special to open it. So that was my biggest impossible goal, and I'm so pleased to I actually got around and finished it.
Huzzah.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's
It
so
is.
exciting.
And in fact, I was going to say, don't email Len and say, oh, because I was going to interrupt and say, don't email Len and say, finish your book.
Oh, I need to finish the other ones, but I've got a few more to do before I get back to that one. I've already started the next one.
See? And don't you find once you get into it, it's easier to do the next thing, which actually makes it not impossible anymore, by the way. Don't you think it'll be easier to do your next books? Or no?
Yeah, no, it'd be much easier because of lots and lots of reasons, and you understand the process. I often think that a good indicator of how well something is going is that you're already starting the next one before you finish the one that you're working on, and so
Mm,
you know you're talking about an exhibition, and I've had this experience too. You're hanging the exhibition, and while you're hanging up the work, you're having the conversation, where to next? Like this is so exciting that I want to do the next one. Like, what's the next one going to look like? And if you're hanging up the work and you go, oh my God, I've had enough of this. I'm never going to do this again. Well, then it's not um, going to be that exciting, is it? As I'm actually selling the copy and I've got a copy in my hand, the planning's already there for the next one, and it's already well underway because it's so exciting, and it's such an important goal for me.
that's so awesome. And I didn't find, well, I'll tell everyone what it was, but for my impossible goal, but I didn't find myself going, oh, what's next? When am I going to do this next? This is what people were asking me. And I'm like, I actually don't know, because I just knew that finishing this opened a door for me in some way. And I wasn't quite sure what it was yet. So I needed to take a step back and like look at like the bigger picture and go, okay, now what? you know, is it another one? What is it really? So mine was in December of 2019. And the dates don't really matter, except that I made the goal to, as part of this coaching program, to create the impossible in 2020. And I say, and we didn't know how impossible that would be, because we all know what happened in 2020. And if you don't know, I don't know where you've been, but I was challenged to make this big impossible goal. And let me pause here and say an impossible goal is not something that's actually impossible. It's just impossible at the moment that you create it. So my impossible goal was to spend the next year really putting myself through a masterclass, changing from beginning photographer, like I actually didn't know that much about a camera, to hosting my own personal like gallery, like an exhibition in my home. And I was like, oh, that seems really scary. So, impossible goal, in my opinion, should feel scary. Not so scary that you're like curled up in a ball in your closet on the floor sobbing. It should, this should be like, I do not know how I'm going to do this. I also think if I could accomplish it, it would be absolutely amazing. And the scary part would be like, could some of my scary parts were like, or the fears that I had was like, could I actually even do this? Was I able, even physically, emotionally able to accomplish this thing? And how was I going to do it? Like, I don't know. And I had a lot of those I don't knows come up. That's, I think, totally natural when you're doing these big, big, big things. Don't you have a lot of these I don't know, Len,
Oh, of
like
course.
come up? I don't know. How am I going to get there? What's next? All of those things, right?
Mm, mm. I really love the psychology that you're using on yourself with this term that it's impossible, and then hardwiring into yourself that you can achieve the impossible. And it's a beautiful way of thinking about it. And it challenged me at first, Brie, at this idea of an impossible goal. And then I had to rethink the term and then understand why and how. It's basically just this a big goal that you think that you can't achieve, and then
Right.
by achieving one of those, you can. It's like baby steps, and now the next impossible goal doesn't actually feel so impossible because you've achieved one already. And
Well, I think part of it is the confidence. Like, I've done one. I bet that I can figure out how to do the next one, even though
mm,
I'm going to like run into some obstacles. There are going to be things like that might seem like it's going to prevent me from doing it. There are going to be a lot of those things, but finishing one, because that's the hard part, is just doing one. And then you can go, okay, I bet I can do the next one. It's still not going to be easy, because that's what makes it an impossible goal. These things aren't easy. These are super, super challenging. And by the way, we're talking about creative goals here, but it can translate to all kinds, right? So, but it can translate to all kinds of things. I just think I love seeing artists and creatives dream big. And that's what this is about. This is about going, there's no way I could get there, but what if I dreamed that I could? Right?
Brie, you're so go big or go home, aren't you? Like I'm going to go all out and do the impossible, or I'm not even, or go home.
I
Yes,
mean,
not try.
we're recording this on video and I'm using all the hand gestures right now. So, yes, and because and here's the thing, we've been told forever that we should be making smart goals, right? We've talked about goals before. I'll link to
Yes,
the
of
episode
course.
on goals, right? It should be
Specific, measurable, achievable, and time managed.
all of those things, right? Like relevant.
Relative. Oh, we left the R out. That's
Yeah,
right.
all of those things. And those feel achievable, right? Because they actually should be timed and they should be short. And that helps us when we accomplish those help us feel good. We're like, yeah, I did that thing. That for me, it would be like, I'm going to go out doing photography to do photography 5 times and go to these places and what else? You know what I mean? Those feel attainable. But it's when we put ourselves out to do something that we don't really even understand if we can get there, that's when all of the stuff comes up. Like, you think about all of the mental and drama, like emotional drama that comes up. Like, think about you doing your book, Len, right? All of the stuff that came up, like, I don't know if I can do it. Is this good enough? Are people going to like it? All of that stuff that we have to then face as we move forward to put it out or do the work that we want to do. And that it's not even actually for me. I did the work. I actually, in March of 2021, I hosted my exhibition. It was so amazing. I'll put a link to a blog post about it, but it was so incredibly amazing. And I think I was just like, oh, okay, it's done, because all of the growth happened not at the end. It's all on your way, and it's all on your way to get there. And it teaches us so much about ourselves and what we're capable of and what we really want to be doing. Like, I think in order to achieve these goals, there has to be a really, really strong why behind them. In fact, I teach this to my clients. Like, when you want something and when you are moving forward on something, you want a really, really strong why that's going to keep you moving forward. Otherwise, it just all kind of falls apart. So, for various reasons, but having that really, really that strong why, and I had that. My why was like, I want to see what I am capable of. I want to see if I'm able to do this. And for me, it was like, yeah, every moment that I moved forward on it, I was showing myself how I was capable of getting there. And I didn't even know. There were so many twists and turns. I thought I was going to go take all this international travel during 2020, which is COVID. And I thought I was going to do all these things. I had like this mental roadmap of how it was going to turn out. And it absolutely did not turn out like that. But I wouldn't have changed anything about it, you know? So
Mm.
think
It,
about all the stuff you learned creating the book and putting it aside and finally getting to it. You learned so much, right?
I did and definitely did. And it's interesting that as a teacher, I tend to work the other way round and I create small goals and small achievable steps and build people up slowly over time until they actually have the confidence to take uh, that impossible goal on. And, like when my students come in and start, often they're with me for multiple years working with me. The idea of a book or an exhibition is just overwhelming. And then over a period of time, and this only happened yesterday, I was chatting to one of my individual mentoring students, just finished my year's masterclass with me. And she said, I'm ready for my book now. Like, I'm ready to actually do what was impossible a long time ago and actually take that really big leap into something bigger. It's so exciting.
I love how you said that. I'm wondering if she thought about this book all along.
I
I'm
hope
really
so.
right? Like I'm curious, was she thinking about this book all along? And then working with you was one of the stepping stones to getting there. And I don't know if it was like as said out loud or any way. I'm just totally curious now if that was a thought in her mind. Like, what if I could? Because I think we talked in another episode about creative curiosity, but I think even just being curious about what could be possible for you then can take you to think
Yes.
about what could then create actually what is possible for you, but it has to start kind of with a question, you know.
I think so many actually start with that question is what do I do and how do I go somewhere? And through the process of exploring and being curious, asking all those questions and making art and studying it, slowly the possibilities open up and you realize that uh, they are achievable and that we can actually do these things that seem overwhelming at first, that seem impossible, or like doing a book is such a big thing that it feels impossible. And there's so many, as you said, steps and learnings along the way, and trials and tribulations and errors that to actually finally make that and then realize that you have a love of it and that you just want to keep doing more and more and it's an ideal medium to push your work out with. And then of course there's the emotional trauma of doing it all, like why in the hell didn't I sell them all? Like how come I've still got a few on my shelf, and where's this flood of people buying them, and I'm jealous of other people selling so many. It's a learning process, isn't it? And it's about continually pushing ourselves. And you said this in your own description here that by actually setting it and achieving it, then you've opened the doors to so many other things, and to push that out of the way. Now you're more of a risk taker, aren't you?
I'm actually, yes, because I know that I can emotionally handle the risk, like that
Yes,
that
yes,
I can
very
do
much so.
that. But also I'm like, oh, now I feel like I can dream a little bit bigger now. Like
Mm.
what could be possible? Like what could I dream? What could I dream up? And whenever I touch on something, I'm like, oh no. If I think about things in the future, I'm like, oh no, that sounds impossible. I write it down. I'm like, oh, it could be a thing, right? Like I have one kind of impossible dream in my business, and I don't know if I'm going to do it yet, but it's something I think I want to do. So it's hanging out there like a little carrot for me. But you know, here's the thing: is everyone's impossible goal will look a little different. So somebody looking at me going, oh, having an exhibition, that sounds terrible. I couldn't get there. That doesn't have to be yours. An impossible goal could be something that isn't, I don't know, you have to see what it is for you because every one of us is on such a different level and we know what we're capable of or not and where we want to push ourselves possibly.
I've had people that their impossible goal or dream is just to print a photograph and frame it and have it on their wall.
Yeah,
And that, is a huge, huge, huge step. And once they do that, they're amazed at it. And then slowly the whole wall gets covered. But that first one, it feels impossible. So I think finding it for each individual is so important. And of course, there can be lots of them too, can't there?
totally. So exciting. All right. I think we said enough about impossible goals. We're going to encourage you to move past the SMART goals, dream a little bit.
Go big. Go
Yeah,
big.
go big. Email us and tell us what you think you might want to work on because sometimes telling someone makes you decide whether or not you want to work on it or not. Like it actually can either solidify that yes, you want to do it or ooh, no, that's not for me. So anyway, we'd love to chat with you.
If you want to have a look at our impossible goals, of course, we'll have links to our books and our exhibitions and videos of those things so you can actually see some of these things that we've achieved.
Celebrate in our success with us.
Yes. Come bask in it with us.
It's really, really fun. All right. That's it for today. Thanks for letting us share and chat with you. And Len, so wonderful to chat with you as always.
Oh, Brie, I so love talking to you and flirting with you, and I can't wait to our artist dates together. And
Woo!
thank you for another exciting conversation, and I look forward to the next. Bye, all. Y'all.
Y'all, it's y'all.
Y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Okay.
All
Bye,
y'all.
We'll say goodbye. G'day, mate.
There you go. Thank you for joining us in our creative affair. If you love the passion we bring to this creative content, please support the podcast by sharing with a friend, subscribing, and leaving us a review. Thanks. If you'd like to learn more about creative photography, visit lenmetcalf.com, where you can find links to Len's photography school, videos, and publications. He would love to invite you to sign up to his newsletter. To find out more about my work, including my photography and mentoring in my Creative Confidence group coaching program, visit creativemindscoach.com. See you next time.